Thank you and welcome to this video. I'm super excited to share this with you. Today, we're going to talk about the 7 tips to telling your most impactful story. As a nonprofit founder, you have to get comfortable with telling your story. I know to you, you're probably like, oh, it's just not that big of a deal. But I'm telling you, your story is what's going to motivate supporters, donors, potential board members, and clients. So stay tuned. So some of you may or may not know, but I have a group coaching program called Create a Profitable Charity. And I work with nonprofit founders and helping them generate a business model that brings in consistent monthly revenue. I don't want them to self-fund. I don't want them to be dependent upon writing grants or fundraisers. I want them to run their organization like a business and not a ministry, and have consistent revenue coming in. So part of that, that framework to generating consistent revenue is being comfortable with telling your story. As a nonprofit, this is what's going to motivate and draw people in. You watch those, feed the homeless, infomercials, or, you'll see the starving kids in Ethiopia with the swollen stomach. And they're saying how you can just, with a donation of $25 a day or 50 cents a day or whatever that amount happens to be, what they're doing is they are creating impact with their story. And they are bringing you in with the emotion of their mission and their vision and the transformation that your donation can make for their cause. You want to do the exact same thing. So this is very important that you get comfortable telling your story. So let's get started. Tip number 1, you're going to see my eyes shifting because I do have notes here, but I'm going to focus on you, okay? So tip number 1, you want to start your conversation with, did you know? And if you can share some factual data that can talk about the big picture or the big problem that your organization wants to solve, that will be wonderful. So do you want to say something like, did you know that over 70% of veterans do not have interview appropriate attire, or they do not own a suit to wear to a job interview? With my organization, we work with veterans and some ex-offenders, as well as they are re-entry citizens, which is the politically correct thing to say, re-entry citizens as they are entering, society. But a fact is, over 70% of our clients who are veterans, they don't own a suit. They don't own interview appropriate attire. And so if you can lead with a fact, because we provide wardrobe and image makeovers, right? So that is a big issue. And it's probably not something that people think about, but you think, when it all boils down to, veterans are used to, or military professionals, they're used to wearing a uniform. So wearing a suit isn't a priority, or having a suit isn't a priority. So if you can start with a fact of a problem that your organization can address, and just, bring some of this awareness to your audience, that's key. Second thing, I'll never forget. If you start your next sentence with, I'll never forget, and you want to lead in with an emotional, vivid example of a testimonial that you experienced with solving a problem for a client. So for me, I would say something to the fact that I'll never forget when, client A came to visit us and we groomed him for his interview and he didn't know how to tie a tie. Can you imagine? So there's only one way that I know how to tie a tie. And thank God my father taught me, how to do that. So I tied the tie on me, I loosened it up and I put it on him and, made the knot tighter. But I literally had to walk him through like how I looped it and how I flipped it and tucked it in and made a tie. So that was so impactful for me to see a young man, I think he was probably 25, 26 years old. He wasn't a veteran, but, was just a young man in the community who was going on a job interview and didn't know how to tie a tie. And to me, that just made my month. The fact that I was able to help this gentleman tie a tie. He's never even owned a tie, right? So if you can lead into and share a testimonial about a vivid example or an experience of how you're creating impact, I'm telling you, they love that. Tip number 3, you want to start with, but it doesn't have to be that way, okay? It doesn't have to be that way. So at that point, you want to share the core belief of your organization. What do you stand for? What do you represent? What is your purpose? And you want to go in and start explaining and expanding on that, okay? Tip number 4, and that's why we are on a mission too. And that's why we're on a mission too. And then share your mission. What are you about? What do you represent? You're here, but you want to go there. Where is there? Okay. What does success look like for your organization? Okay. Tip number 5, we're planning to ... Okay. And then summarize your big plan. What is your overall vision? Okay. Give them a little bit more meat and potatoes so they can truly understand what they can buy into. What type of impact can they buy into? Okay. Whether you want to raise money or, you're looking to, help increase the workforce, or you want to, build a computer lab, whatever that happens to be comfortable with sharing what your needs are so people will know how they can invest in your dreams, okay? Tip number 6, and we are looking for people like you to help make this plan a reality. That's what you want to say specifically, okay? And we are looking for people like you to help make this plan a reality. You never know who they know. You never know if they're in a position to help you, even if they can make a partial contribution or support you in some capacity, whether it's from a monetary standpoint, it's in kind, it's volunteering, it's referring, it doesn't matter. It all will come together, okay? But you have to be comfortable telling your story and be willing to make an ask, okay? And then tip number 7, so that ... Okay. Then you want to go into the vivid example that you went back to for problem number 2 or tip number 2. Okay. So that people like client A will always have the proper attire to dress appropriately for a job interview. Or so client A will have the confidence and the self-esteem to tie his own tie, so that client A will take pride in his appearance because now he knows that he's properly groomed for a job interview. So now he's able to sell his skills on during that interview and get the job, and now he can support his family. Whatever that happens to be, you want to tie that back in to the initial problem, okay? So let's quickly recap. Tip number 1, did you know? Tip number 2, I'll never forget, okay? Tip number 3, but it doesn't have to be like that. Tip number 4, and that's why we're on a mission too. And tip number 5, we're planning to. And 6, And we're looking for people like you to help make this plan a reality. And then tip number 7, so that. Okay? Those are your 7 tips for making an impactful story. Sharing your story, sharing your message, sharing your vision. Okay? Stay focused on the format. Don't deviate. Use these 7 tips. Okay? I'm telling you exactly what to say, how to start those sentences, and then you're going to fill in the blanks with your vision and with your examples. Okay? And if you're looking for additional coaching, I invite you to attend my private training and definitely join my free Facebook group, Create a Profitable Charity. Okay? I'll look to see you on the next video. You have an awesome day. Continue creating impact. And remember, nonprofit is a tax status. It is not a business model. Okay? Take care.